Hey guys, welcome to this week's review of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Nothing too much happened this episode, right? It's the second episode, so we're pretty much just being kind of reintroduced to all the characters on the show. But it was still entertaining, it was still fun to watch. So I'm just gonna really be talking about things that stood out to me. So let's just get into it. Mary. Mary is really a great addition to the Real Housewives franchise. She is one of those characters that they don't really need to be doing much in a scene because they're so charismatic, right? In a way, she reminds me of, say, a Nene, right? Not to say that they're the same because they have completely different personalities, but they're similar to me in the sense that they're funny. Really, that's it. They're funny. They're comedic. So if you're comedic, you don't need to be doing much, right? Like just Mary showing her cousin around / contractor around her house and pointing out the things she wants to change was hilarious. It was. So she really is a great addition. I know last season, technically, she was a housewife, but originally she was just a friend to the show. So it was kind of disappointing that, we saw her at the beginning, but then she fell out with Jen, and, we didn't really see her again till the reunion. And you could really... There was something missing in the show. And just having Mary now just adds... It adds to the show. It really does. So I'm glad to see her back. And I'm glad to see her every episode instead of 1 or 2 episodes and then we never see her again. So kudos to that. The only thing, however, with Mary, her church has been accused of being a cult. I think it is. To be honest, I do. What people call her Jesus and things of that nature. And even her tagline of "Don't come for me or I'll send Jesus after you." That's just that's probably the worst housewife tagline I've ever heard. Don't come for me, I'll send Jesus after you. What is Jesus, your attack dog or something? Jesus doesn't have better things to do than come for people that mess with you on a stupid reality show. That's almost blasphemous in my opinion. So I don't know. You can see how Mary is just... I don't know. She just speaks her mind. She has no filter. She says what she says. And that's what makes her so entertaining. But I also feel like sooner or later, it's going to come to bite her in the butt. Right? Same thing with Jen. On one hand, you could be like, Jen is really... She's entertaining, right? I don't think Jen is funny. But she will bring the drama. But it just comes to a certain point where it's you're going to do so much dirt where it's going to be really hard for the other ladies to want to mess with you. Or you may find yourself in jail, right? And if Jen is going to jail, I feel like Mary is not far off. If I had to pick the next person, I'm sorry, Mary, you're going to be the next one. You are, right? So it's that's the thing with interesting characters. It's you kind of know that it's not going to last forever with them. Hopefully, Mary doesn't have any shady things going on, and okay, fine, her church may be a cult, but hopefully nothing too scandalous comes out. But she married her grandfather, so I don't know how long Mary's going to last, if I'm going to be completely blunt with you. But I'm going to enjoy Mary as long as I can. Okay. Whitney is another one I like, right? Whitney, she's funny, she's fun, she's gorgeous. So I'll be interested to see her storyline unfolds. She does seem open about her life, right? So I'm here for it. Meredith, we're getting a bit more of Meredith's personality. We're kind of we're seeing her open up, or I don't know if we're really seeing her open up. It's more so that she's angry at Jen, right? But I'm gonna save that for last. I'm gonna save Meredith versus Jen. Who else? Let's talk about the new girl, Jenny. I mean, it's kind of hard to really tell from the first episode to this episode if she's gonna be a good addition, but she's gorgeous and she has cute kids and a cute husband, so she does have the making, right? So I'm just gonna, like, in terms of her personal storyline, not much is going on, but to be honest, I really don't want to see a happy family kind of be torn apart and have drama all the time. So listen, if their stick is like they're this happy family, I mean, I can accept that, right? Like I said, not like every housewife has to have something going on in the personal life, right? Maybe they're going to be the type of housewife that will bring more in. Maybe they'll be the type of housewives that when it comes to the group dynamics, they bring something to that. So I don't know. I have to see more from her to really see if she's a good fit or not. But on paper, she seems like she is. So I'm here for it. I don't have anything against it yet. So yeah, let's go into Jen and Meredith, right? And let's speak more specifically on Jen, actually. As I was saying before, Jen she could be interpreted as interesting, right? Because she's so volatile. But at the end of the day, I don't know how that's going to work if you isolate yourself from the rest of the cast, right? Even though she may be entertaining, it's like, I don't want to make a harsh judgment on somebody, especially if I don't know them. Like, we all have flaws. Nobody's perfect, right? Like, Mary is definitely not perfect. Whitney is definitely not perfect. Jen, Meredith, Lisa, they're not perfect, right? But I feel with them, there is a bit of a balance. So they're able to kind of exist cohesively together. Like, Mary is the type of person, she says whatever, right? But I feel with Mary, at least there is some sort of balance. At least with Mary, she's not going to fly off the handle and curse you out and cross that boundary in which you can't come back from, right? So if Mary and the other ladies have a tiff or the beef or whatever, I feel like maybe it will be possible to come back from that because Mary is a little bit more humble than Jen. Jen, on the other hand, she just loses it, right? Because basically what has been going on is that when it comes to Jen and Meredith, right? Jen has been liking tweets about Brooks that have been kind of insulting, sort of, right? Kind of alluding to the fact that he's gay, even though he hasn't come out as gay. Liking tweets saying that he has white privilege and things of that nature, right? And she's doing that in retaliation because Brooks, I guess last season, Jen was over Meredith's house and she was kicking up her legs, and Brooks alleged that, they saw him and his sister saw her for JJ, and they were so disgusted they had to leave. And I guess Jen was embarrassed by that and angry. I mean, I just don't know how to feel about this. On one hand, I kind of, unpopular opinion, I don't know. I feel like Meredith is just being a little too extra with this because I'm waiting to see these tweets, right? She may have made one bad tweet, or maybe she liked one thing that was like, okay, that was terrible, right? And she apologized for that. But kind of saying he has white privilege, that's why he was able to have a fashion line with only one fashion. I don't know. Like, I feel like the audience was thinking that. I mean, everybody was kind of thinking that. And it's not like Brooks is, a kid. He's technically an adult. And you did speak disparagingly about Jen. You said you saw her vajayjay and you were like I remember that episode, right? Like, you did insult her. So if she comes back for you, I mean, is Jen right? No. Is Brooks right for that? No. I mean, I just feel like you can be rude to somebody and then they come back at you and then it's like, oh my God, I'm a kid, right? When we saw more of Brooks than we saw of Meredith that season, right? Like, Brooks was like another housewife. So if you're going to put your kid on that show and you're going to give them a substantial role, right, in your life, then I feel like you do open them up for public opinion. And if they're going to make commentary on the cast and make disparaging remarks about them, like, yeah, she was kicking up her legs, but she wasn't like grinding in your face or giving you a lap dance or being inappropriate directly towards you. She was just being goofy and fun in the moment, right? Maybe she was tipsy. Maybe she did go slightly too far. But if I'm just hanging out with my girlfriends and I'm dancing or whatever, and then, you see my butt crack by accident or you see something, right? And I'm not doing it intentionally. I wouldn't want the people at the party or whatever then to go behind my back and be like, ew, look at her, blah, 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 blah. Like, obviously I would be upset. So I kind of get why Jen is upset too, to be honest. I don't know. I just don't feel, unpopular opinion, but I don't know. I don't see why Meredith would be. I get it. I guess if it's your kid, you're going to take it a little bit personally, but I feel like Meredith is like doing a little too much. If anything, if I was Meredith, I would be more upset with Jen when Jen was talking about last season, when Jen was talking about her marriage, right? And saying that she's dating other people, she's doing this or that. But at the same time, I mean, Meredith and her husband were separated, so they were dating other people. So it wasn't like Jen was lying. So you could be mad at her that she spilled your tea and everything, but I feel like, I don't know, like, you weren't really being honest with your situation either to the audience, right? But I can understand why you don't like Jen. But I don't know. Just as an audience, I'm looking at both of them like, obviously Jen is wrong, but I think Meredith is kind of dragging it out too. And this is the thing with these housewives, like, you're going to have conflict and whatever, but you just have to be able to move on and forget about it. You can't keep like dragging something out. And I just don't feel like she liked any tweet that was just so bad, right? I definitely understand that there needs to be a conversation between the two. They need to hash things out, but the level of anger is a bit much. However, that being said, I know I'm flipping and flopping when it comes to this. I can also understand if Brooks, he didn't like come out as gay. Like, personally, I thought Brooks was gay. I thought he was kind of out with it, and I didn't know that it would be such an issue, but I can definitely understand that, like, if you didn't come out, if you haven't talk to your parents about it, anybody about it, and you have this person labeling you as such on a public platform, yeah, I can understand where that could be hurtful. But at the same time, I feel like, why did you have him on the show like that? I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. And maybe it's best for Brooks not to, like, we see Brooks here and there, right? Because I liked Brooks at the beginning, But then it just came to a point where I felt like Meredith was almost using him as a crutch for her scenes, because we were getting more of Brooks and his personality, and we were getting really nothing from Meredith. So I understand it's the first season, so you don't really know what you're getting yourself into until the show airs, and then you watch yourself back and you're like, okay, so this is how it works. So if Brooks isn't really ready for that level of scrutiny, and he's not really, because he is still young and you're not comfortable with yourself in that way yet and everything like that, then being on Housewives is probably not for you. And you should kind of protect your privacy and stuff like that. And when you're ready, you show up, you do whatever, but you need to be careful when you're commenting on the other housewives, right? Because if you say something wrong or you go left and they come for you, you can't really be like, I'm a kid. Like, you can't do that at that point. So it's best to kind of just mind your own business. So moving on. Jen and Heather. Heather was a fan favorite. I'm not really sure about how I feel about Heather, because I was liking her up to the reunion, right? And I feel like Heather wants to kind of play a certain role. She wants to be the good girl, right? Which makes sense. It actually does fit her narrative very well in terms of how she grew up, right? And I feel like even though she's trying to break out of that, it's still within her, you know? She wants to seem like the good guy. And when, she told Whitney that she's going to meet with Jen and she's going to try to work things out. And Whitney's kind of like, be careful, because Jen has not been a good friend to Heather, right? And Heather keeps giving her another chance. And I felt like last season, Jen was just walking all over Heather. But for some reason, Heather wants to kind of make this work with her. And I don't know. Like I said, she's trying to appear a certain... I don't know what it is. I don't know why she's so desperate for Jen's approval or friendship, because Heather is in a pretty good place with everybody. She's in a good place with Whitney. She's in a good place with Meredith and Mary, maybe. So she doesn't really need the friendship of Jen. If anything, Jen should really be coming to her. I mean, Jen did come to her saying, let's meet. But I don't know why if someone says you're a manatee and you're Shrek's wife and all these terrible things, I mean, I understand, like, okay, you're in a cast, so maybe the producers kind of forced them together, but I don't know why she's just so forgiving of Jen. It's just kind of weird to me, right? And Heather, I just get this kind of vibe that, I don't know, like, her act is very contrived to me. So we'll see how things play out. So Jen and Heather, they meet up, and Heather's kind of calling out all the crap she said. And it's kind of confusing, right? Because on one hand, Jen said, yeah, I said you're a racist or whatever, and I deleted the tweet. And then Heather showed a screenshot, I guess, of what Jen said. And then Jen said, that's not me. I didn't say that. That's not real or whatever. So I'm really confused as to what was said and what was not said. I think I said this already, but with Jen, I just feel like there comes a certain point where it's like you're just almost too volatile to be on the show. And then we know she's going to get arrested. She has her legal battles. So I can definitely understand, why producers are probably liking her on the show. But if she doesn't get arrested, I really don't see how she's going to come back for the next season unless they bring in another housewife that's Jen's friend, right? Because it even seems like when she gets arrested and everything, the only person that was kind of riding for her, which is Lisa, kind of turns her back and like, you know what, I don't want to have anything to do with this. So I don't really see her coming back, because at the end of the day, I don't really think anybody really likes her, right? Because she's just a little too much. She's a little too unstable. And I know she did when they showed the apologies, all the apologies she gave a lot of apologies, right? And that's great that she's able to apologize. But the reason why she's giving so many apologies is because she has lashed out a lot. She did a lot of dirt. That's why she had to apologize over and over and over again. And it just gets to a point where it's like, saying sorry doesn't really mean anything if your behavior hasn't changed at all, right? And she's still trying to kind of justify her behavior. I think she just needs to, I mean, they already filmed it, but if it was me and if I was the producer and I was giving her tip, obviously the producers want drama, so they don't really care. But it really should have just been, you say sorry, there's no buts. You say sorry, I was upset, sorry. Let's just have a clean slate, and you start from scratch with that person. You just start completely over, right? Because this whole back and forth, like, you were wrong, straight up, Jen. So, and then maybe, now that you're in a better place, we'll see how you move. But, like, I don't know, you can't just lash out. Even when she was talking to Lisa about Meredith, she was freaking out. So it just shows me she hasn't really changed. So I don't know how that's gonna work, how she's gonna come back next season, but we'll see. Anyways, that's everything, guys. See ya.